How's it going, everyone? This is Crops, aka Beast Beats, and today we have a top 8 deck profile from the GOAT Grand Prix, Fort Worth, Texas. With us, it is none other than Sean Bush, aka Mercenary on Discord. So, this is the deck he brought to a top 8 finish. I'm going to let him go over his choices and kind of like a tourney report at the end. But to kick things off, I'll have him start by saying like kind of how he got into Yu-Gi-Oh and all that good stuff.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? So I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh probably around like oh oh three or something, and I kind of played just until like Teledad came out, and then kind of quit just because I was like a little kid. I didn't really have money, and if you didn't have money back then, you couldn't really play Yu-Gi-Oh. I recently found Dueling Book. I think it was like last October or November. So I've been playing for just like a couple of months at this point.
Yeah, so he knows of the Teledad format. Shout out to Crush Court Virus being way too expensive. Uh, but and then so the deck you chose definitely looks like it's definitely a variant of Chaos Turbo. Um, and I did notice a few things about it, but I'll let you talk about the deck list real quick before we go into the question slash tourney report.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. So I mean, this is kind of just like I feel like a standard, well, a little bit above a standard card destruction turbo build. Definitely opted for both Night Assailants with the card D for like maximum discard, shenanigans, I guess we'll call it. They're also kind of nice because they get rid of cards like Kaiku. They're kind of annoying to this deck, or enemy spies, face downs. They have good synergy with Sook when you can get that on the field, right? Have a flip and resolve Sook. I opted to go for only 9 traps. I wanted to play a Book of Life, and I dropped one of the jars. I like to play 3 jars. I think they're a really good card. But I wanted to also see, well, what does a main deck book look like? And it was tough to find another spot to fit it in. I didn't want to take out an MST, being that I have such a heavy trap lineup, and that gets rid of not only Decree, but also good cards like Snatch or opportunities for +1s, hitting end phase sets, things like that. It's also another faith target, so it's just generally a good card. I personally like the Phoenix from Wing Blast when you're talking about the Regeki Break versus Wing Blast. Early game, it's going to keep, whether it's darks or lights out of the grave. Playing odd decks, it can kind of put your opponent into this weird stall position, which is kind of nice. And being that it's discard, you have Thunder Dragons, you have Night Assailants, you have Serpent in the deck, so there's a lot of opportunities to, I guess, stay positive in terms of pluses, minuses, if you're into that. And then looking at the traps, you probably notice there's also no ring. To me, I think ring isn't the necessarily strongest against turbo all the time. Being that I'm running 3 solemns, I wanted to kind of try a different theory out and just maximize like cards that really give you opportunity for pluses. And Torrential and Mirror Course both have the opportunity to destroy more than just one monster. And then I also don't have to worry about getting ring late game and it being kind of a dead card. So that's, pretty much it for the main. Look at the side deck. Not the greatest side deck, I think. I like the Sakus and the ring. Those are great for warriors. The ring's good for sometimes control decks. The walks, I think in Swiss are really, really good. Actually, I won a game 5 match. Sorry, a match 5, game 3 with one of those due to time. Didn't really see too much burn, but it's a pretty solid card versus burn. Books are a really solid card. You can side out jars or something like that for books when you're playing against Decrees. Mind Control, it's okay versus Turbo. I don't really know how I feel about running 2 in the side deck. I might kind of drop that down to 1 in the future. Um, and then looking at the monsters, I have a Mobius in there mainly for burn. Sometimes it can be okay versus warriors, although you have to assume that you're going to have a monster on the field, and it can be a dead card in hand a lot of times. The Zaborg is a very optional card. Occasionally, I like to side out Sook for that, especially going second. It's okay. It's a little bit better versus some kind of control decks. When you're talking about go control, not as much. But for instance, decks like Fresh was running, where he has the Golem. It's an 1800 beater. Easily runs those over, and it can sometimes just hit a blind set, which is pretty cool, and it has that random light synergy. Zambira's okay. I actually just didn't have copies of Berserkerilla, or else I probably would have run 2 in place of the Zambira and the Spy, which would have, again, made the matchup against the Golem a little better when I played Fresh. And then the Asura is pretty optional. Just another card to wipe out scapegoats and hit over a bunch of stuff, and it's a light. But again, lately I haven't really been seeing too much play with it, and I hate the fact that it's a spirit, so it goes back to hand at the end of turn. So probably we'll move that to out of the side in the future. We'll see.
Awesome. Yeah. The ring in the side was definitely different from what most people do nowadays. Let's see. Anything else I noticed? Yeah, the Zaborg. I'm glad you touched on that. That was an interesting. You don't see that usually in a turbo list. Although, yeah, I suppose it can be nice if you're just staring down spies, right? You can go, all right, should be one of my spies. Pop your spy, attack over your other spy, or pop any chaos guy, or like a flip if you feel like they got a faith or something set. Let's see. Yeah, other than that, yeah. Oh, of course, the wing blast over breaks. There were a lot of breaks the tourney.
I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to see wing blast over the break there. Let's see.
Another thing about Wing Blast that I was realizing a lot was, so when I was playing guys that were running breaks, well, not everyone is prone to using it, but the people I was playing, they were pretty prone to using Brigeki Break in either the end phase or their standby phase to drop a Serp and get it back. And targeting set monsters is the way to go. And a lot of times I'm going to throw out something like a Sangan or a Serpent just to bait those out, right? And if you were a Geki Break, a Sangan, or a Serpent, it literally does nothing for them unless they have, a swing with a Kaiku or some other follow-up play there. But a lot of times I don't really care about losing life points. So that's where I think Phoenix Wing Blast has an advantage in that they're gonna draw into that card next turn, and they can't proc their Sangan, right? Or just get the Serpent back to hand. So I think that's also kind of nice.
Right. Yeah, I think I'd probably definitely go Wind Blast in the mirror. I think that's always going to be likely the better option. Only something like Burn, which you probably want. Regeki Break over Blast, but then, like you said, I think there was only one Panda Burn player in the whole
yeah.
tournament. So
yeah,
that game, I did watch the end of that game where you and Ryan went back and forth at the walk. That was wild in time. I think probably one of the only times you cited it in, right? In time, since you probably didn't get against him.
Yeah. Funny enough, because you're playing Swiss, and when you go past the 40 minutes for the time, you get on the basically 6-turn clock. So naturally, any good player, him included, was going to side out cards like Upstart. You're going to side out cards like Solemn. You're going to get rid of anything that basically will either increase your opponent's life points or reduce your life points.
Right.
And then you side in cards like Mystic Walk. Battle Traps was what he did. I opted for a little bit different of a strategy, and it ended up working out. So that was cool.
Nice. And how were your other rounds during Swiss and then in the top cut?
Yeah, so round 1, I think I was playing like a control turbo. I got the 2-0 win. That was pretty quick. Round 2, I played Fresh, and he was running that Golem control. I think game 1 I got him pretty quick. Game 2 he got me pretty decisively, and then game 3 He also got me. I forget what happened, but it was pretty much I just got locked up by those. I didn't have the gorillas to really run those over, so I ended up just not doing so hot in that matchup. Round 3, I ended up playing. I think it was also like a turbo with meta, with 1 or 2 copies of meta in it. That one ended up going for time as well. I think, funny enough, I literally had to buy a snatch steal right before the tournament started because I realized I didn't even have one in my main.
Wow.
And I think towards the end, when we were called for time, I ended up snatching a Sork, and I had his Borg on the field, and that pretty much ended the game there. He was only on like 2 cards. Round 4, I played against another turbo matchup. The funny thing was, game 1, I don't want to say I gave it to him, but I basically cost myself the game. I think I was being super passive, kind of in fear of sets. Didn't want to, be too aggressive, and I ended up losing the game because of it. Game 2, I think I sacked him. I just drew into the nuts. And then game 3, funny enough, I was in a spot where I was almost sure I was going to lose, and he started playing super passively. I had 2 knocks set, which is horrible when you get 2 knocks set and no active traps, right? But I think he really took those as threats, and it changed his entire game plan. And I think over the course of 7 turns, he went from probably 95% chance to win to me actually somehow pulling the game out of nowhere. And then I think he ended up dropping after that when he went to 2-2. It would have been. And then match 5, I played the champ Ryan. Game 1, the reason we went to time was because I actually won by decking him out. Game 1, crazy back and forth. He was running turbo with apprentice spice and things like that. And I want to say he was running both Wing Blast and Regeki Break, but I don't remember.
It looks like just triple break.
Just the breaks. Yeah, the apprentice I remember. The warrior lady I didn't know he mained. 3 decos. So no spies.
He sided them. He said he didn't like spy for some reason.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And his dust shoots definitely kept hitting me while we were playing. That was funny.
The one of
but yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying the one of kept getting
yeah. I think they resolved at least 2 of the games we played. But yeah, so game 1 I got him with a deck out. I mean, we were both just playing super calculated and thinking through everything. At one point, in fear of me having. So he didn't have Chaos active, but he had I think he snatched my Sork, and he had Sangan and a Serpent set, and he knew to keep the Sangan in attack in case I Mirror Force, because then that would actually activate his Sork or BLS. And I ended up somehow playing around all of that, and I summoned a Sangan at my own at one point and torrentialed just to get my Chaos active and kind of change the game a little bit and thaw him out just enough for him to deck out. Game 2 he got, and then game 3 when they went for time, we both sided out all of our stuff and kind of just went for the walk, get aggressive type game style. And I think I heavied into 2 of his battle traps and then swung in with a Sangan and a Breaker to get the life point advantage. He got some life points from me, and then literally at the end of his turn 5, he walked his tribe when I think he was at 6,100. I was at 6,400. So he walks his tribe. He thought he had it. And then I walked my set spy just to edge him, and that was it. He drew into the spy, and he said he could have walked that instead, but it really didn't. It wouldn't have made a difference since I was already ahead. So
yeah, I remember. Yeah, you heavied his Mirror Force and his Saku. I remember seeing that.
Yeah,
and then the walk,
that was huge.
Yeah, his walk on tribe, you chain walk on spy. Yeah, that was hype moment for sure. Let's see. And then so that's round five. And then you got into top cut. See how was top?
Yeah, top was I gotta say just pretty unlucky. I drew into two Thunder Dragon all three games
Ooh.
somehow. No matter how much I shuffled my effing deck, I just kept drawing into them. Um, game one, he sacked. Game two, even though I had two Thunder Dragon, I think I ended up drawing into like Charity and Duo turn one, so I kind of sacked him. And then game three, it was like I had like he trap dust shoots me. I think turn on my turn two, and then I drew into like two Phoenix Wind Blasts. I had uh, two Thunder Dragons in hand, and it was just miserable. I just couldn't really get anything going or do anything that game. So he went away with it. He got aggressive with a Kaiku and I think it was a DD War Lady or something else, but that was pretty unfortunate. Quick end to the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. Sadly, you can do really well in Swiss. Like Kevin, aka Fresh RL, we'll have him on the channel hopefully in a couple days here. He Yeah, in his final, I think it was pretty sure it was the finals, his first round in the finals. He opened three Thunder Dragons and a BLS, and he
Jeez.
did not manage to take it. Yeah, so that was rough. And yeah, that'll do it. You open all three of them, and or even just two, right? And sometimes that's enough to sadly put the nail in the coffin. To even though it's one of the most consistent decks in the format. Um, Yu-Gi-Oh! No matter what deck you play, you cannot escape the brick. Sometimes
Yep.
you can't escape it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and Thunder Dragon is really good when you draw one, and absolutely horrendous when you draw more than that. So yeah.
yep, that's the trade-off. I think you're more likely to draw one, right, than any other amount.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the trade-off there. But yeah, I just want to say thank you again for coming down to the event and for doing this interview here on the channel. Do you have any special shout-outs or anything you want to say?
No special shout outs, but I mean, definitely. Well, I guess shout out to you, honestly, for putting that all together. This was my first in person tournament since I was like, I don't even know, like 10 or 11 years old, getting my ass kicked and playing against kids that were like my age now back in the day. So it was a lot of fun. I drove from Houston to Fort Worth to participate, and I just had a blast all day. So thanks, man.
Of course, thank you. And with that being said, I just want to thank you all for watching. And there should be more of these to come from a couple other top 8 players. And you already know what to do: like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, bye.